Hello you guys, I'm Fabio Hart coming back with another video. In this video, what I want to talk about, and I won't take a lot of you guys' time, I promise I won't, is paying attention to your client's needs, okay? It's one thing, it's one thing to have to work so hard to get these contracts, right? You have to bend over backwards, you have to use marketing dollars, you have to use your sweat equity, you have to use your time, right? You have to go through so many different channels to pick up these accounts. And it doesn't make sense for you to pick up an account just to hold on to an account for 3 to 6 months and then get canned by that account. Now, it's one thing that you get undercut or underbid by another company. They come in, they have a lower offer, right? They put in a lower offer. Then the next thing you know, you get a 30-day notice that, hey, we're going with another company, or et cetera, et cetera. That you can't control. But what you can control is how you pay attention to your client needs and their wants. And it is okay, guys, to go the extra mile, okay? It is okay to go the extra mile to do more than you're being paid for, right? And I'm not saying to a very huge capacity, right? But you want the client, like for an example, I hear all the time, even with my contracts in Ohio, my contracts in Georgia, right? We know I'm not there on a regular basis, on a consistent basis, but feedback do get back to me that they say we do a great job. And that all have a lot to do with training. All my people on one accord, okay? All my people on one accord. We on one wavelength, okay? And I feel that you do have to train your people to that capacity, right? They're not just gonna come in and everybody gonna be on the same schedule, everybody be on the same level, okay? So training is a must. You should definitely be meeting with your employees at least twice a month, okay? If you're a little off on it, you might have to do a little bit more. But I would say at least twice a month, and that's approximately every 2 weeks, right? Whether it's a weekend, it don't have to be on a day that your people working on. You can pick a Sunday, whatever. Just come together as a collective, right? Get their feedback, because again, a lot of times, guys, especially when the head honcho, you, isn't in the building as consistent as you probably should be, a lot of times the employees hear a lot of things that you wouldn't typically know, okay? And at least if you come together in a meeting, you can see where you guys lack at, where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are, okay? And I do that, okay? I do that with my people. You have to make sure your people are in uniform. Uniform is very, very important. Now, me personally, I don't personally wear my shirts every day and this and this and that, right? But it's paramount that my people do. It's just part of the hiring process with me, right? If you have badges, if your company, you have a badge, some companies, commercial cleaning companies have badges with their little picture on it or little name tags or things like that. That's okay, okay? If that's part of your uniform, make sure you hone in on that. Make sure you hold your people accountable for wearing their badge, for wearing your shirt, being on one accord when it comes down to uniform. That's helping your brand. That's helping the visibility of your company, okay? And it's just a professionalism. When you walk in the building, when they walk in the building, right, and everybody have on the same shirt, everybody's on one level, one accord, right, it makes things a lot smoother. It makes things a lot smoother, okay? So again, pay attention to your client. Pay attention to their needs, okay? At least check in with them once every quarter. Don't do it too regularly, because when you do it so regularly, number one, they think you don't have a life. You don't have nothing to do with your time, right? And then number two, they get to making up things, right? So sometimes if you check in too regularly, then they'll say, oh yeah, last week they didn't do this, or last month they didn't do that, or whatever the case is, or yesterday they didn't do this, right? So they get to making up things. So you want to be assertive. You want to pay attention. Again, I tell people, so many people think about growing so quickly. So many people think about growing fast, growing broad, right? They want to grow out. And that's the object of the game. The object of the game is to grow, but also the object of the game is to maintain and retain your current clients. Like, I got so many people that email me and say, Fabio, I got this contract, or I'm happy I got 2 contracts. And then 6 months later, they say, Fabio, what did I do wrong? I just lost one of the contracts that I told you I had 6 months prior, right? You shouldn't be like, I still have contracts from 2012, right? Now, I don't make a whole hell of a lot of money on them because, I was getting my feet wet and I didn't always bid the right way, but I still have those contracts, right? And I still employ people at those contracts. Okay, my company, we go to extra mile here locally in Georgia and in Ohio, right? I get the feedback. They say, hey, we like what you guys are doing. You guys are great. You guys are fantastic. And it all comes down to training. All of my employees are on one accord. All of my employees are on one accord. Okay. Uniforms is a must. I'm going to say that again. Uniforms is a must. I'm going to say that one more time. Uniforms is a must. And the reason I said it so many times is because I talk to so many people. I have people in my coaching, people outside of my coaching. They say, well, Fabio, the people they just don't want to wear the shirts. They don't want to wear my uniform. It's not what they want to do. It's what they have to do. That's part of the process in working for you. This is all coming together as training, guys. I want to kind of nail that in your head, because the way you deal with your employees is the same energy they're going to give you back. If you're so relaxed and you're too cool, right, then they're going to feel like you're a pushover. They're not going to take you serious. Okay, you can be assertive, you can be stern, right? You can get your position out there and still be kind, collective, right? You joke here and there. My employees, a lot of times they joke, talk about my hairstyle of the day or whatever the case is, right? But at the end of the day, they know I mean business and they know I need to get the job done. They stay consistent. A lot of times, when I come in, I catch them off guard. Hey, and they're dancing and they got the headphones on and doing their thing. I don't get in the way. I don't get in the way of that. If that's what make you do, and they do a great job. They do it. I want them. I call it the Google effect. Google employees, a lot of the Google employees at least, I've seen them interview on YouTube, and people that work for Google, they say, I love working for Google, right? Google have a relaxing, fun environment. It's colorful. You can even sleep at the Google headquarters. I'm hearing they actually got like cots where their employee, can sleep, right? They got a whole, setup there at the headquarters of Google, right? So, I want to incorporate that. I want you, when you work for Hollywood Janitorial Service, I want you to come to work and not be like, oh, I have to come to work. Because when you feel like, oh, I have to come to work or whatever the case is, then it reflects in the performance. It reflects in the way they handle the job, right? Okay, so you want to create a nice atmosphere, but you want to be stern, okay? And I'm talking, this is kind of mixed up with the videos, guys. It's not meant to be a very long video, but it goes hand in hand in this regard, because in order for you to be able to please your client, you have to stay consistent with what you do, okay? And that's whether you're doing it, if you're just starting out and you're just a one-man operation, you're just a one-man show, or that's in the event that you hiring somebody. Stay consistent with the work, okay? Have a checklist. Again, this all come into training, okay? This all come into training. If you don't have the resources in the beginning, start adding these things on. Start looking at YouTube videos on hiring people, or the best ways to deal with subcontractors or different things like that, right? Because I don't know everything, right? So I kind of go with the flow. I got a good knack for picking people in the interview. I go off of body language. I go off of gestures. I go off of just the energy that they give back to me. It's a psychological thing, I think, with me, right? Now, I don't always hit home runs. I'm not saying people never quit. I'm not saying that I never have to discipline anyone or we don't have any problems, okay? So again, like I said, but it all comes to training. It all comes to training. I try to minimize a problem. For an example, guys, I got a plant that we do in Sterling Heights, Michigan, right? It's a really big plant. They do car parts and different things like that, right? And a problem that I had, I guess last month, somewhere around like last month, sometime, I had a problem where because I have all females that work for me. One of the young ladies that work for me, she was attracted to one of the guys that work at the plant. Now, here's the deal. It got kind of heated because now my employee is now arguing with another female that works at the plant over this one guy, right? So again, I have to realize, like, hey, what do I do in this situation? So I get the phone call, we get the email or whatever the case is about, the employee and this, and they're getting into it, they arguing and then this and this and that, right? Now, here's the deal. I like to tell my people not to fraternize with the employees, but I can't make them not fraternize when I'm not around. You're attracted to who you're attracted to. I will prefer that they don't do it, right? Because it kind of keep the heat down, so to speak. But if they're going to do it, they're going to do it. So I have to explain so I pull my person to the side and I just have a one-on-one. I'm very frank. I'm very assertive. I look them in their face, right? They know I mean business. And I gave them an alternative to handle their situation because, again, I can say, look, don't talk to this guy, right? This is part of what it is. You can't talk to this guy, but you really can't do that. How many of you guys like somebody that you work with, right? Your supervisor might not want you to fraternize and hang out with one another, but you do. You're grown. It's nothing that they can do, right? So the best that you can do is set some policy, set some type of stand, pull them, together, right? I would talk to them first, which is what I did. I talked to my employee first, and then I go ahead and talk to the contact person. I say, hey, we have it handled. Everything should be fine. We shouldn't have any problems, whatever the case is, right? And then move right along. Now, in the event that is another problem after I've already talked to you, now I have to pull you from this site. I'm going to put somebody else there, depending on how you work and this and this and that. If you're a great worker, then we'll just swap out. So if I got somebody on the east that's doing bad, and I need to pull somebody from the west and move them east, and take this person from the east and move them west, then I'll do that, right? If this person have a good rapport with me, they always come to work. They're a great worker. It's just this little hiccup with this little knucklehead guy, right? So again, like I said, it all comes in training. You can't talk to them like they're your son. You can't talk to them like you're their father, you're their mother. You can't talk to them like that's your daughter, okay? These are grown people that you're dealing with, and the same energy you give out will be the same energy you're going to get back, okay? It's inevitable, okay? So all of this stuff is lumped together, but at the end of the day, you have to make the client happy. Okay, you have to make the client happy. There's no way, well, I shouldn't say no way, there is no reason why you should work, put in sweat equity, put in all of these man hours, you do all this advertising, all of this direct mail, you have all of this social media campaigns going and different things like that, excuse me, and then you're only there for 3 to 6 months. And then you say, well, Fabio, they let me go because they said, we didn't do this. We did do this. We did. Okay, maybe it wasn't this one time. Maybe you guys consistently made mistakes, right? And you got to catch those things. That's why I tell people to have a checklist. Okay, I'm not going to show you mine, but we got checklists right in the drawer, right in the building. Okay, we keep copies of them on deck because I need my people to check off and make sure they hit. It just makes the workload go that much better. Now, you don't necessarily have to do it that way. That's just the way I like to do it because it makes sense for me to do it that way. I sign off on it and date it. Our contact person signs off on it and date it. That just confirms that everything is checked, that you don't have any problems, and everything is running smooth. Okay, again, your team should be running together as a unit. Right? United you stand, united you fall. Not divided. United you stand, united you fall. Okay? If they mess up, it's all going to fall back on you. And you guys are a unit, right? So united you stand, united you fall. That's my perspective on it. Okay? So it's just, again, guys, just be very assertive to the client need. It's okay to go the extra mile. Okay? You don't have to make it a habit. You don't have to keep doing the same thing if you feel like, okay, we're not getting paid to do this, but we're gonna do it. We want to make them happy, right? They notice little things like that. That's why at the end of the year, Christmas time come around, and you guys see me do the Christmas videos. My people actually get bonuses. Now my client don't have to do that, right? My client, they don't have to give out checks and separate checks. Once they cut us the check, it's our duty to pay our employees, right? That's why a lot of my clients, they don't want me to switch it. Fabio, don't take this person, because again, they get used to that person, right? They like that person. They're familiar with that person. That's the environment that you're trying to build with your employees. Okay, that's the environment you're trying to build with your employees. But again, it's up to you to be very assertive and check on your accounts. Okay, I've grown my business dramatically, right? Operate in Georgia, Ohio, and Michigan, and I still make calls to Ohio. I still make calls to Georgia. I'm constantly, Friday is my long day. The reason I call it my long day, because that's the day I get out. I drive from east to west, north and south, and I'm checking on accounts. Now, I'm really here at this account the most, right? Because at one point, this was my most troubled account, right? I had a high turnover rate, and I was this close to losing this account. And it's a very big account, right? It's one of my largest accounts that I have out here. So that's why they gave us this little office space. That's why I have like this, my own little office within their company, right? Because again, I want to make sure we mesh together. I want to make sure that we answer any questions that they have, make sure everything is running on one accord. Okay, so again, guys, I can't stress that enough. Make sure you please the client. Growth is inevitable, right? But it doesn't make sense to me to grow if you can't retain. It does not make sense to me to grow if you can't retain, because all you're doing at that point is replacing. Okay, you're losing some, you're winning some, you're losing some, you're winning some. And another thing, people say, Fabio, why do you have all females working for you? I'm going to let you guys go shortly. They say, why do you have all females working for you? The reason I have all females, because they're a little bit more assertive. Even when I do my lead generation call, it feels way much better on the other end, whether it's a woman or whether it's a man. It's just women have that innate ability to soften up things, right? Whereas men is, Hollywood janitorial, this and this and that, women comes down, they more assertive, they pay attention, they listen, right? And if you train them well, they can do a magnificent job for you, right? So my supervisors, my field supervisors are males, right? They come and check on everything, any chemicals, and the vacuum cleaner's working, and we got the solutions, everything is good, everything look good, the uniform, make sure they're in uniform, all of this stuff. And my cleaners are all women, okay? And it just works just like a clock. It just do what it's supposed to do 24/7, okay? That's all part of putting your system together. That's just a system that I decided to build for myself. It works very well for me. I'm against family, hiring family. Some families can do it, right? Arabs work well together, family business, right? Hispanics work well together, but for my situation, it's a little different. I got some Caribbean family, and everybody want to be the head honcho. Everybody want to be the chief, and nobody just want to be just regular Indians, right? They don't want to work up to being the chief, right? So again, that's just what it is, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and leave it here, guys. Again, hopefully this video will help you guys out. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it right here. The only person that can ever stop you from starting up your own dreams and making it to the top is you. Take care.